Ladies, what if I told you that you've got an extra whole 20 to 30 years to live your best life? We're going to talk about that today. Welcome back. I'm Cindy, your sassy Southern grandma. The last few weeks we've been talking about parents and aging, and I've realized I'm kind of in a little slump. At the beginning of the year, I did some videos right before the beginning of the year and at the beginning of the year about planning your year, what kind of goals you're going to reach, like we always do at the first of the year. And now it's almost June. As we often do, those things from the beginning of the year get kind of fading away with everything that happens in the life every day. So I really hadn't given it a whole lot of thought until I saw a video by a lady named Katie Skipper. I'll put the link down in the description. And she's talking about a new phase in women's lives. She calls it sovereignty, the sovereignty phase. You can call it anything you want. You can call it your still Magnolia phase.
But I can do that anytime.
Whatever you'd call it, I didn't even realize it existed. Back in 1900, the life expectancy of a woman was around 48 to 50 years. Life expectancy, like women died at that age. At birth, their life expectancy was 48 to 50. By 1950 up to 2000, our life expectancy has expanded to 80. That's 30 years. Those are just some round numbers about where our life expectancy has expanded in the last century, 125 years. Now, 125, if you say 125 years, that seems like a long time. But we know at our age, 125 years is not that long. It goes by like that. And in listening to this video and grasping some of the concepts she was talking about, back before this expansion of our life expectancy, and even back into mythology days, there were 3 seasons of a woman's life: girl, mother, old lady. Maiden, mother, crone. And it's kind of like you're a girl. You come into your childbearing years, you're a mother, whether you're a mother of your actual children or mothering other people. And then old age, the crone. That's where you see the crippled over old lady with the long gray scraggly hair. That's what we think in our mind when we hear the word crone. However, now we have some extra time in there. Things have changed so much. If you look at a graph of our life expectancy from 1900 and the things that have happened right after 1900, between 1900 and 1950 was when vaccines were invented. Penicillin was invented. Penicillin became widely accepted. It became a rule that milk had to be pasteurized. All of these things were scientific discoveries that doctors and researchers had during that little 1900 to 1950 span that greatly increased our life expectancy, because we were learning about germs, we were learning about infection, we were learning about what spreads infection, we were learning how to stop infections and reverse them. So to learn from her during that video that one little span of time has actually given us an extra 20 to 30 years, depending on your age. Now, if you're 50, we're talking an extra 30 years. If you're 60, I just turned 64 last week, I've got another good 15 to 20 years. I hope it's more. But I never thought about that. I never thought until I watched that video about the fact that when I was growing up, born in 1961, grandmas were grandmas. What you still sort of kind of see depicted as grandmas is gray hair, walking around in a little house dress, mostly stay home, don't do a whole lot of things. But that's not the reality of grandmas now. if you look at grandmas now, they don't look like our grandmas did. And they don't act like our grandmas did, for the most part. And being a nurse, one of the reasons I love being a nurse is learning new things. And this just kind of sparked my learning whenever I watched this video, to stop and look at what has changed and why. And mostly it's because of medical interventions and scientific discoveries that have prolonged our lives. At the beginning of our lives with vaccines, all throughout our lives with antibiotics and new medicines to help with infectious diseases, but also at the end of our lives. I've just recently worked for a couple of years in orthopedics. I work in medical surgical nursing, and while the population there is mostly older people, these people are living a lot longer. We are living a lot longer. The baby boomers especially are living a lot longer because of medical interventions. You've got everything from joint replacements to heart valve replacements to cardiac bypass surgery to all kinds of things that are helping with expanding our life expectancy. Now, the doctors can do a lot. Nurses can do a lot. We can teach you, we can give you the medications, we can help you mitigate these life events that could happen, we can help you reverse some things, but all of that depends on the individual person. What are you willing to do? And most of that starts with your mindset. You know, if you think 65 is old, and a lot of kids, well, I call kids in their 20s and 30s, do think 65 is old, because I work with a lot of younger nurses.
You're really old.
And I'll say, oh, he's only 68. They'll say, only 68, because they think that's old. To me, that's not that old. It's funny, isn't it? The older we get, the younger those numbers start sounding. But we can have a mindset of 68 is old, 64 is old. I'm just going to sit here and rot away in my recliner. We can have that mindset, or we can think, like I've been thinking since I watched this video, hey, I've got an extra 20, 25 years. I don't want to just sit around. I don't want to be decrepit. I don't want to be immobile. I don't want to be someone who just kind of gave up. And that is all between our ears. That's where it starts. Now, you could talk about exercise, you could talk about food and health and nutrition, you could talk about medications that can reduce your risk for things, but every bit of it starts in your head. So I kind of mentally started getting a little bit more rejuvenated about those things I thought about and wrote down at the beginning of the year, and looking at the things I did go through with and the things I didn't. I highly recommend that you look up and follow, look at some videos, look at her Instagram page, Dr. Vonda Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T. I'll put a link to her Instagram in the description. She is a double board certified orthopedic surgeon, but she also has done decades of work about aging. What makes us age? Is it inevitable that we can't get up out of the chair? Is it inevitable that we have frequent falls? Is it inevitable that we just all eventually get heart disease and diabetes? Her answer is no. And she has a lot of practical things that we can do, even starting in the 20s, 30s, 40s, but also her motto is even your 80, 90-year-old grandma can be lifting some little weights and help build some muscle. Every little thing helps. So I highly recommend following her and looking at some of her videos. She's got a new book coming out in August about women and aging. She has also been an instigator of me thinking about these things more. We need to change our mindset from I'm old to, okay, so I'm older than I was, but I'm not dead. I'm not crippled. I'm not incapacitated. So what can I do in these 20 to 30 years that I've got, that I just discovered I have? It's individual to everybody. I recently discovered a lady on YouTube named, her channel name is The Unexpected Gypsy. I love listening to her because she has a British accent. And she has a very calming presence. She is an artist. She does art journaling. She does her own art. She, to me, has a very sweet, calming spirit about her. Some people can use these 20 to 30 years to expand hobbies like art or poetry or music or things that are kind of more low-key than people who are running marathons at our age, people who are out doing mountain climbing or hiking or a lot of physical activity. Whichever end of the spectrum you fall on is valid. I'm not saying we all need to get out and start doing triathlons. I'm just saying we need to do what lights us up. This is our time. We don't have children in the house anymore. We are trying to deal with our aging parents, but most of the time they're not directly in our care all the time. And even if they are, carve out time for yourself. But find out what it is that you would like to do with the 20 to 30 years I've just told us about. And an important part of that is saying yes to what you want to do and no to what you don't want to do. Because even at our age, there are so many pressures from the outside, from family, from friends, from church, from organizations to, we need you to do this, we want you to do that, can you bake cookies for this, can you come do this committee, can you da-da-da-da-da-da. And all that is okay as long as we're doing what we want to do. Most of us ladies have spent a lot of years taking care of everybody else. So it's a good time to stop and think, what is it I really want? Say yes to those things. If there's something you really don't want to do, even if it's a dinner party, even if it's some event that you should go to, do you really have to? I mean, is it a requirement or is it just an expectation? If it's just an expectation and something you really don't want to do, listen to yourself. Do what you want to do. And of course, along with changing our mindset, in order to stay able to do things in the next 20 to 30 years, we have to be physically able and ready to do those things. And again, that starts with your mindset, and it starts small. You don't have to go out and walk 5 miles a day this week. Walk 20 minutes, walk 15 minutes, walk 15 minutes 3 times a day. Whatever you can put into your schedule that will help you start moving. I've had this conversation with my mother. It's probably to no avail, but she's always talking about how tired she is. And I tried to get through to her that the more you move, the better you feel. I know you don't feel like moving, but if you just move a little bit, you'll feel a little bit better, and then you can move a little bit more.
It's like talking to a brick wall.
That applies to me too. That applies to all of us. And I'm not talking about trying to look 30 again. Sure, take care of yourself. Sure, get in better shape. Sure, take care of your skin. I'm not talking about this crazy Kris Jenner stuff. Okay, that's her business. Let her do what she wants to with her face. But that's not the point here. The point here is being in as good shape and as mobile and as energetic as you can be at your age. I saw Andie MacDowell this week. She's let her hair go gray and she's gorgeous, and of course she's always been in L'Oreal commercials and all that. But the comment she made was, I don't want to be young. I'm old. I want to be old. I mean, she's 63, I think, 65, something like that. So she's not what I call old anymore. But people are pressuring her, especially in Hollywood, to color your hair. Don't color your hair. Cut your hair. Let it grow. Use this. Do that. Inject your face. All that. And she's like, I don't want to look 30. I'm not 30. I don't want to be young. I've done that. Now I want to be old. Now I want to be who I am now. That's the whole point. Be who you are now. The words anti-aging are so prevalent everywhere you look. And it's tempting. You look at your neck, you look at your crow's feet, you look at all the things that you look in the mirror and see, I am old. Some of those things you can do a little something about, but our appearance is not nearly as important as how we feel, what we're able to do. So let's focus on that, because that's what's going to get us through these next 20 to 30 years of being able to do the things we want to do. It's easy to sit down. I'm a great planner. I'm a great planner to sit down and plan out. I can plan out the whole year. I can tell you this, this, and this, and set all these goals. Where the rubber meets the road is when you actually take the action. So set one micro goal. Set a little tiny goal. Do something brave each week. Do something brave every day. Do something different. Do something healthy. It could be just switching from high carb meals to more veggies. It could be from not doing any activity to getting up and walking once a day. It can be anything. You could set a goal to run a marathon in a few months if you want. It's not undoable, but the important thing is that we're doing something. That we're not just, I tend to stay in my head and plan a lot, and then guess who I get that from? Mom. So I want to encourage you, as I'm encouraging myself, to be more proactive. Think about those extra 20 to 30 years I just told you about. It's like we got a gift. I feel like this lady on the video gave me a gift to say, it ain't over till it's over, baby. So 20 to 30 years, what are you going to do with that? It doesn't take long for it to pass, so today's the day to do something about it. I encourage you to look back at a video I did in November called It's Never Too Late to Start Again. There was a lot of more detail of practical things you can put into place. And between now and next week, go back and watch that video, and I'll see you again next week.
Welcome back now. Here.